everyone, and welcome to Connections for Life. I'm Ted Pete.
Chad Kuvo. Hey, guys.
It was a terrible answer.
What was that?
That was fancy. We like to call that fancy over here.
Did you come off the floor?
That was not
laying
the
under your desk?
I did. I lost my pen under the seat in front of me. I'm in an emergency.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. I'm Joe Surratt for everybody that doesn't know by now. Hello, everyone.
So how was your weekend, fellas?
Joe, you go first.
Good, I guess. It's we had Halloween, right? That happened. So that was interesting, a little different this year. Kids were out and about with just basically collecting candies from buckets on people's porch. So that was a little different.
Up in Auburn?
Oh yeah, we went for like an hour and a half, and it was freezing, and it was pretty awful. But yeah, no, we did that, and we did win our last two soccer games of the year on Saturday morning.
Undefeated.
32 degrees. Yeah, my fingers and toes are just now thawing out, so that's good news. But no, I mean everything was good. It was pretty much a normal weekend. Yesterday I did absolutely nothing. It was cold and windy and yucky out, so I just kind of stayed in the house and worked on the housework, stuff like that. How about you boys?
I had a completely lazy weekend. Lindsay and I started rewatching Dexter because we heard the new thing's going to come out, and I figured it's going to take me about a month and a half to do it. Because I think there's 7 or 9 seasons, but we got into like season 2. We didn't do a whole lot. We didn't give out candy like the old Grinches, and my daughter went to some other neighborhood to trick or treat. So I watched TV. It was kind of cool.
On a record-breaking note, though, you were also up past 9 p.m.
I was, and you wouldn't even
First
engage.
time in like a decade.
10:30.
Yeah.
Not good for this guy.
Nice. Well, we had a little, we originally had, because there's no trick-or-treating in our area, so we were going to originally have a big party for our kids and all their friends and all that. And then...
That sounds safe to get over the trick-or-treating.
That's better. We can't go individually, but let's pack everybody into the house.
Well, they canceled that, so the original trick-or-treating, so we said we'll have a party, and then they...
And in other news, stay away from Ted for the next 14 days.
Well, then they made the restrictions so you could only have certain number of people within a place, so we... had a Halloween party with a certain number of kids in it, but you know how it is when you got teenagers. It's like, you can only bring so many people here. We're like, okay. So,
and then 3 show up, and they bring 3 more, and then another 3 more come.
So we had a few kids here. We were within the rules of it, so we were good.
No, you weren't. You weren't.
Playing Halloween games. My wife had a game for these kids called Chubby Pumpkin, which is absolutely hilarious. So you get the marshmallow, you get a bag of marshmallows, and every kid has to put a marshmallow in and say Chubby Pumpkin. All right. And
I don't want to know what they sound like.
Put another one in and you say Chubby
I'm gonna have to figure out how to beep it again.
And then you have to figure out, or you have to see who can put the most in and still say Chubby Pumpkin without marshmallows out. Absolutely priceless. Memories that will last a lifetime. Kids spitting marshmallows everywhere.
That is funny.
So we did that, and then my wife.
I'm pretty happy I didn't play Chubby Pumpkin.
Yeah, I got some great photos.
But I am a chubby pumpkin.
On Sunday, we got up early and
should be your background.
To a lake to pick up some patio furniture that we found on sale from a Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome patio furniture, like brand new, and it was like $1,500 with patio furniture. I got for $150, right?
That's cool.
Truck, throw a ratchet strap over the back of it so that it'll all fit, and take off down the road at 55 miles an hour and watch it go.
You lost it.
Out the back of it. Nothing broke, but I did scuff it, and I had to ratchet strap it over the top as well. So it was hilarious watching me pick up patio furniture. And
you could have skipped the chubby pumpkin part of the story and just went right to the.
That's for future reference. Go right to that, because that's definitely a winner right there. All right, enough about.
Other than that, I sat around all weekend.
On your patio furniture that broke.
On my patio, it's got a scuff.
It's not worth $150.
Oh boy! All right, fellas. Well, every week we're trying to give these updates on the
Keep talking.
Expo, and pick somebody each week. I picked this week because of our guest, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I just wanted to pump the tires of Chris Tomei with Rhino Marking Systems. He's doing a presentation on proper identification and marking of natural gas pipelines, and it's going to be fantastic. They do a really great job. What'd you say?
You're struggling today with the
I
talking.
really am. It's not
Holy
a good day
cow.
so far.
Let's restart
I think
this.
talent screwed me up at 8 a.m. I think that was what got me off on the strange foot today. But anyway, so that's December 1st, 10:30 to 11:30. Yeah.
And Joe?
I'm gonna pick Charter Plastics. They're doing how plastic pipe is made down in Stoughton. That's on December 1st from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern. Just a really cool presentation. If I've seen kind of parts of it before, where they walk you through kind of the facility and some of the things that they do. And if you've never seen plastic pipe being made, it's just kind of a unique thing. So check that out if you can. Again, December 2nd, 2 to 3 Eastern.
And I'm going to pump the tires to continue with Chad's verbiage. A good friend of ours, Jeff Beecham of Smith Blair, he is hosting Choosing the Right Product, Couplings in the Natural Gas Industry, and that's taking place 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on December 3rd. It's going to be a great presentation put on by Jeff. I've seen him do it in person, and he is pretty special at it.
I'd say that's a good one. That's
enough chatting. Let's get into our guests, guys.
Yeah, do that.
This was one of my favorites, just because I'd never met Scott prior to the interview, and he was on location in one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen on Earth.
Oh,
it is Scott Landis, CEO of Rhino Marking and Protection Systems, also Infrastructure Resources. So
yeah, which is pretty neat. That whole story is neat.
With a great story. So without further ado, welcome to Connections for Life, Scott Landis. Welcome to the show, Scott. Thank you for joining us on Connections for Life.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Scott, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. Probably better than you guys.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you are.
I just want to point out to everybody watching, that's not a green screen and a virtual background. He's legitimately on site in St. John's, right?
Yeah.
Wow, you said the right thing.
I know, for the first time ever. Well, we want to obviously. Yeah, it could be anywhere. It's not here. But I want to say thanks, first of all, for taking time off. I know you're on location, on vacation out there. So just thank you for taking the time. Location on vacation. I'm going to get that on a t-shirt. It sounds like a new thing. On location on vacation. Yeah, funny, Ted. But Scott, we just wanted to start off. Obviously, you're the CEO, I believe, of Rhino. We just want to talk about how did you get introduced to the natural gas industry and where did it all begin?
Yeah, actually, I had a buddy in college whose dad actually started Carcinite, kind of the original fiberglass marker company, and he kind of badgered me for 2 or 3 years to come out and go to work for them. And I kind of did a little of everything, and then started getting introduced to the utilities through them, and just kind of gravitated to the utilities and the gas industry because it was a lot more fun than highway delineators.
I'm sure.
Wow.
That's kind of funny. Go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, Chad. No, go ahead. You got it. I'm gonna.
So I know, I believe if I did my note taking correct and I did my research right, you started Rhino in about 1990. What led you to do that? I guess for yourself, and also just give us a little evolution maybe of how it came about and what it took to do it.
Yeah, sure. I kind of had always wanted to have my own business and had a bunch of little side ventures, but my college background led me to believe I should start with a business plan and all those kinds of things. And instead, I got fired, and I said, "Oh crap! I really need to find a way of living pretty quick since I didn't have any money, and I had a 18-month-old and a 3-month-old, and so." I actually had worked a lot with manufacturers reps, like kind of Upsco, and thought my expertise was in working with reps in the utility industry. And so the company name is technically RepNet because I started as a kind of a contract national sales manager. I went to a number of manufacturers that had a couple products that they wanted to sell to utilities, but they didn't know how to do it. And then I kind of got those all together and went to reps who you guys know, most reps don't want to take on a one item line and all the work that goes with it. So I said, hey, I will be the guy who will be hassling you and say, what have you done for me lately? To coin a phrase from the past. And instead of having, 5 manufacturers hassle you, it'll just be me. Support you. And so I started out like that, and then my firm belief was, I said, for sure, I know one thing I don't want to do is ever get into manufacturing. And so then you fast forward 30 years and we manufacture. So that was the plan. And I was really fortunate that my wife had a good job and was super supportive, because, you know, without any funding other than a credit card, it's pretty hard to get rolling and survive.
That's awesome.
Before the next question, I'm a big failure motivates, and you learn your best lessons from that kind of stuff. I mean, this is off script here, but I mean, that's just such a token example of an entrepreneur right there. You know, I failed at what was the way to go, so to speak, and I was spurned into innovation, and that's just really, really. I love hearing that story. So
yeah, it's kind of fun, because I'm not sure I would have ever had the been willing to just quit the job and go cold turkey had it not been taken care of for me.
Yeah, had you not been forced into it.
Yeah, and the other line I always like is people say, well, you know, how did you make money the first year? And I look at them, of course, being naive, and go, you mean there was an option not to make money? How would I have survived?
Yeah, well, it's incredible though. I mean, like you said.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We got a little bit of interference considering you're on the other side of the world. I still think we're doing okay though. I want to say it's incredible. You know, I think there's a lot of people out there that probably don't know your background and see you as the CEO of this massive company and doing great. But to hear about getting your beginnings from, you know, because you got let go from a job that you probably didn't want to be at anyways. Right. You were able to create this big organization and empire. You know, we had RepNet as you'd mentioned. I just had a question, and again, this is off script. Where did Rhino come from? Because when I started at UpSco, it was RepNet Rhino, and then just all of a sudden it just switched to Rhino. When did that happen?
Well, yeah, and that's again a well thought out plan. So once we started manufacturing, the word RepNet really didn't come across as a manufacturer, and kind of it really came to a head. We had a rep down in the Texas area whose name was Rep Tech, and so you can imagine going on sales calls, and this is RepNet with Rep Tech, and the customer's going, well, who's actually making stuff here, you know? Yeah. And so I said, I think we need to rebrand, and again, you know, thank God for my wife, who was a graphic designer, right? So I had created a product. My first patent was a cover for a garment bag, and it was called Rhino Garment Bag Armor. And so you'd put your garment bag in it back when people used to travel with garment bags, so the airline wouldn't wreck it. So I had this great logo, you know, Rhino Garment Bag Armor, and this was back when you actually drew logos. They weren't like this quick thing on a computer screen. And so, the original one doesn't look like the current one. It looked like a kind of a Banana Republic type thing. And so we were thinking, well, I really need to get rid of this RepNet name and develop a brand. You know, rhinos are tough. And you know what? I already have that logo. If we just took out garment bag armor and put damage prevention systems, and there you go.
Oh my God, that's absolutely fantastic. Well, I think it was, and once again, I'm back to my research. Maybe 12 years later, maybe early 2000s, was it, Scott, that you started Infrastructure Resources, which is, I mean, in my opinion, and probably the industry's, is just genius. It goes along with everything we try and promote as a company as well, which is actually trying to educate people about what they're doing and why they're doing it and the 811 purpose and everything else. But how did you get to there? I mean, in between those two things, and now you have both those companies. How did it, I mean, I think I know, but just give us.
Oh, no, Chad, he had another logo from another patent. Yeah. Figures, I just got to start another company.
You went with a shovel and just say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're not that far off, but so when I started Rhino, I didn't obviously have any money. So I had worked with Underground Focus magazine, kind of putting together a book back in my Carsonite days on stopping digging, right, on damage prevention. And so I got with the editor and said, hey, you know, do you think I should write a monthly, or it wasn't really monthly, but a column on identification? I said, for your magazine? And he said, well, yeah, sure, but I can't pay. And I said, well, that's okay. I'm not sure anybody will read it anyway, but how about if we...
That's how we felt about this show.
Ding, ding.
So I just traded them I got a full page ad, and it was awesome because that's what we needed. And so you fast forward a little bit, and we really didn't have in the damage prevention industry kind of a trade show. There were a couple little gatherings, but it's like, in my view, until you actually have a conference / trade show, you really don't have an industry, right? You have a magazine, you have other things, people are talking, but you need a conference to get everybody in the same place. And so I had a friend who owned a trade show company in Minneapolis, and I went to him and said, hey, I think our industry needs a trade show. And we went to Underground Focus magazine, and I said, hey, you should create the content. And so I kind of married the two together, and we started the Damage Prevention Convention originally, which took off pretty well. But then my friend had the audacity to sell his business.
Scott, can you say that again real quick for me, though?
Sure. Yeah, my friend had the audacity.
No. The name of it. The name of it.
The Damage Prevention
Convention.
The Damage
Almost
Prevention
as good as
Convention.
Expo Expo, which we just figured out how to say.
Yes. Well, it quickly became the DPC because of just what you noticed. Yes. So the problem was after he sold it, the company that ended up buying it really could care less about damage prevention or the industry, and they wanted to have 2 shows a year, and I couldn't be affiliated anymore, so we kind of parted ways as my industry consultant thing, and actually started working with Underground Focus magazine again, kind of the new owner at the time, Mike Perlak, and created an outdoor trade show by Mantino, south of Chicago, called Underground Focus Live. And it was if you guys have been to a lot of shows, it was pretty cool. It was actually in a neighborhood, right? It was all live digging, vacuum excavation, locating, but in an old, actually an insane asylum neighborhood.
No, it wasn't.
It was. Yes, it was.
How appropriate.
I'm surprised I wasn't invited.
I'm surprised you were still there.
Yeah, you were a resident. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Everybody. Thanks for jumping on there too,
I
Scott.
didn't say anything. I didn't say anything that time.
I know what you were thinking, Kubo.
I was.
Anyway, the short version is the show was a lot of work and lost money. And so Mike Perlak said, I don't ever want to even say the word trade show again. And I said, well, I kind of like it. So I bought that from him for the money that he lost. And so that's when I started Infrastructure Resources, and it ended up becoming, kind of an indoor outdoor show and all that. So it really started from a need thing again. And plus I just thought the industry really, really needed something. So.
Man, there's so many times in life where you find a need and fill it, and it just explodes from there. That's I'm excited. I love it so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really neat that you've taken an idea, and I don't mean to we always kind of joke with you guys the non-moving plastic parts, right?
Brightly colored. They got to be brightly colored.
Brightly colored plastic parts from the damage prevention. I guess I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but perspective. But the marking community, I'm sure when you started versus where it is today is probably much different, along with the evolution of 811. If you could just kind of speak to how it's changed since you started, and I guess some of the differences between day one versus where we are today.
Yeah, sure. No, it's a great point. Like everything, it changes. Although, as you know, in the gas industry and the utilities in general, not real fast. So when I started, it was more or less fiberglass posts, which were colored, brightly colored. We're just kind of breaking in. Everybody had primarily used metal posts and signs, and the problem with those is they were mostly green metal posts with a sign, so they weren't very visible. And so this flat fiberglass post was at least colored top to bottom, and 4 inches wide, so visible from the front and back. That was great, but then over time it was like, yeah, but you can't see it from the side at all, and you don't know where the excavator is going to be. So there were round marker posts, which can be pretty effective, but the catch with the round is also the legend is kind of hard to read around a curve. And so when I started Rhino, and I thought, well, this is kind of simple, right? But isn't the entire purpose of a marker to get somebody to be able to read the warning message and then hopefully call and get a locate? And so they started out thinking, well, 4 sides would be perfect, right? But then that's kind of a waste because it just takes more material, and really 3 sides would work. And then I thought, you know, and it might actually be strong and durable with my engineering mind. And it was actually the TriView started then, and it was originally made out of polycarbonate, you know, like hockey boards. You New Yorkers can relate to that, like we can in Minnesota. So I thought, well, this is going to be the most durable thing on the planet. You'll be able to hit it 1,000 times. And as it turns out, when you take Lexan and put it in a triangular shape, not so good. It becomes really, really rigid.
And brittle when you hit it, right? I mean, I assume it would fracture.
Yeah, you could almost stop a car. So I actually...
I'm going to tell you, after you're done with this, I'm going to tell you my experience with TriViews is probably 20 years ago, most likely. But go ahead, and it reminds me of that.
Okay, well, I'll forget because that's good. But anyway, so we I think it was Bell South at the time. Some company had some spec where they needed it hollow, and at the time we weren't extruding it ourselves. And I asked our extruder, "Can you make this out of something else?" And he made it out of polypropylene. And so we said, well, we better see what happens. And we hit it, and it went, oh, wow, it actually snaps back up. This is pretty cool. So from there, we made some other changes and eventually added the rod in it to make it even more durable. But back to kind of the other thing that really changed in the industry was 811. Because, you know, in the beginning, one of the big problems damage prevention had was every state had a different phone number. So if you're a contractor, you had to know the phone number in that exact state, right? And so if you think about that from a marketing and a messaging standpoint, so if you're a pipeline that goes across the whole country, you can't run ads to tell people to call anybody without listing a whole row of phone numbers. And the decals had a whole row, you know, it was a nightmare. So 811 came about on May 1st of 2007, which meant that, you know, you can dial 811 anywhere in the US and it goes to the local one call center. So all of a sudden that changed the whole damage prevention world because now you could have national marketing efforts.
Wow, that's crazy. I have one question about that. Who was the inventor or originator of 811? Like, where did that come from?
So that actually came from the Common Ground Alliance. It's the CGA. There was a congressman, I think it was in Louisiana, named Chris John, who authored the bill to get 811 enacted. Kind of the CGA pushed for it, and he was willing to jump in and get the bill enacted. And it was awesome. And, you know, like they tried in Canada but couldn't get it. Kind of ironically, they're very happy that they couldn't get it. Up there, it was their national health number, which is now all over the news every day because of COVID. But so because they couldn't get it in Canada, and you guys are right on the border there, it actually, a guy named Mike Sullivan up there, who was kind of their executive director and also runs Alberta One Call, he said, well, we really want people to do this online anyway, because it's more effective, it's less expensive. So they just dropped the whole push for 811, and they have clickbeforeyoudig.com. And magically, once you got rid of that phone number, it's something like 94% of their tickets are done online.
Wow.
Which saves them money, makes them more accurate.
That's pretty cool. Thanks for that little bit of history there. I mean, I just really didn't know where 811 came from. And you said that was in 2007 when that came about?
Yeah, May 1st, 2007.
I figured they just picked a random number and said, instead of 9 for the emergency, we'll have 8.
That's what we would have done.
Yeah, 100%. Scott, I just wanted to say before kind of our last question that takes us into the thing, I was probably a 21-year-old kid maybe, and I think it was right after your TriView came out. So this is 20 years ago, so it's got to be, maybe right somewhere around there. But you know Don Barter, and I worked for Don at the coating plant at Liberty Coating, and we had probably 70 rows of pipe that we stored there. And we could never figure out how to mark them so you could send somebody out there to go. Well, Don's great idea is I'm going to buy 30 TriView posts, and I'm going to have Chad take a post hole digger and dig 30 holes in the ground with a post hole. And this was like sand, and it was awful. They worked after I got them in. It took about 3 weeks, And but I did get him in, and it was terrible. But thanks for that. I appreciate it.
I think Chad, what Chad's really trying to say is thank you for inventing that, because you see spending a whole day breaking his back trying to put him in the ground.
It was kind of neat though, because they could stick out and we could hit him with the pipe whenever we picked up a loader. The pipe essentially would back over it, knock it over, and it'd stand back up. So it definitely worked. Awful for me.
Well, just a minor aside to make you feel a little better, Chad. You know, we have a soil anchor, which is basically a metal triangle that you pound in.
He wasn't buying that, Scott. He wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, Don, he wasn't getting that from me. He was just saying, "Hey, big hole."
When we were working on that, I took some examples of this anchor out to Las Vegas, which the ground's a little harder than sand.
Yep.
And I'll never forget, I had this Jim Lanto with Southwest Gas and a couple other people, and I said, "Yeah, would you guys mind? We'll go to lunch, and I need to show you how this goes in the ground." And it must have taken me 10 minutes. I'm sweating like a pig, and they had big smirks on their face, just saying, "Oh, we get to watch the sales guy sweat like a dog out here."
You're a better man than me.
Oh man.
Yeah,
so I'm sorry.
Waiting patiently when he comes back like this.
Yeah, look, he's gonna be mad when he comes back because he's frozen.
While that happens, why don't I ask the last question?
Go ahead, Teddy.
Would have been like, yeah, it doesn't work. Let's go to lunch.
There it is. He caught up. So, with that said, where do you see the future of Rhino and everything you're involved with going, and the industry and as a whole? You're someone who's been through multiple changes and multiple different eras and stuff like that, and that's often the best way to predict the future is from the past. Where do you see it heading?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I mean, we are, nonstop working on all kinds of new products, and at some point, and I don't think we're there yet. These markers are all going to be smart, and they're, you're going to click on them, and they're going to go to GPS, and you're going to see a picture of at least what's theoretically down below, and all that type of thing. The big hurdle is every time we or anybody tries to marry the two, all of a sudden now you have to get people's IT departments involved. It's not just the damage prevention person,
right.
And you know how hard change is normally in a gas
Just with the damage prevention person, it's tough.
Yeah, so now try and marry them with IT, and so it will happen for sure. It's just a matter of when. And on the infrastructure resources side, we're actually kind of launching a membership platform called the Excavation Safety Alliance to really take all this education and make it available to everybody. Because the problem we have now is, a lot of people don't ever get authorized to go to a conference. And yeah, virtual things are great, but this will be an ongoing thing that gets updated all the time. So I think that's really going to be an awesome platform. It's never going to replace face-to-face, because we all know that's 10 times better, but not everybody can do it. This, even after COVID, not everybody can do it. So,
you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I just, Scott, I know that I want to say thanks for coming to the show. I mean, we could probably ask you a million more questions, but I'm assuming you want to get to that lovely landscape behind you. I see all the butterflies and birds flying around, and it just
makes me want to jump out my first floor
it makes
window.
me, maybe the third floor for me. I just right off the edge. It's pouring rain and freezing cold here. So go enjoy your vacation.
I had to wear the shirt too to rub it in a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
I wasn't going to comment on that, but thank you for doing that for us.
Yeah.
But
it's a shameless plug for our daughter's business. So
go ahead.
No, plug it. Yeah, please.
Go ahead. It's a little tire pump. Do it.
Yeah, that's right. I wouldn't be a good dad otherwise, right?
Go ahead.
What's the name of the company?
Oh, it's Dog Threads. They actually make matching clothes for people and dogs, and this is kind of their signature stuff, is the barbecue style stuff. They were actually on Shark Tank last November. So
I love Shark Tank.
And by the way, that just earned all three of us a free shirt, which is unbelievable. We appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I don't have a dog, but I'll get one if I get a shirt.
I have 3.
Yeah, you can have one of mine.
Yeah.
But no, but in all seriousness, Scott, thanks for taking the time. I know you're out on vacation in St. John's, and it's absolutely beautiful there, and it's early in the morning, and we really do appreciate you coming on your vacation and taking your time to spend with us. So I just want to personally say thank you. We can't do this show without people like yourselves and all the hard work that you guys have done to help us be able to, maybe grow the industry in the way that we're starting to kind of perform it and do the things that we're doing. So just from me, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it.
Same.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Joe said it great.
yeah. Anything we can do to promote damage prevention and help save lives is awesome. Plus, it was fun.
Awesome.
Absolutely. It was our pleasure. I promise you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks
Take
for
care.
joining us, Scott.
Yep.
Scott, great interview. Pleasure talking with you. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Nice background, Coops.
Thanks. It's Scott's front yard from the other side. That was the screenshot we took when he froze at the end. Remember? That's
right.
That's the front yard picture that Scott had in the
It's a
back.
tough view. Don't come back, Scott. If you're still there, don't come back.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I wouldn't at all. So
You'd have to drag me out of there.
It's absolutely
a hurricane moved you out of there.
Take my chances. You've been to the States lately.
Valid point. I live in New York. Yeah.
So every week, Joe,
Same.
you now have we've now joined in trying to grow a little bit of education or give some education. Why don't you give us our weekly gas fact? Gas fact. Gas fact. Gas
Wow,
fact.
you too.
Sorry, it's the highlight.
I was kind of joking about that when I first said it, but now apparently it's turned into a thing.
Shouldn't have said it.
So this week's gas fact comes to us. Wow, I'm on the Chad Kuvo speech pattern today. Holy cow. AGA, right off their page there. It's a little pump to them, but natural gas serves approximately 60 million homes, 5.5 million businesses, 185,000 factories, and 1,825 electric generating plants.
Wow.
On a daily basis, the average U.S. home uses approximately 175 cubic feet of natural gas. So that's your little gas fact, as you guys
Gas fact.
dubbed it
Gas
today.
fact.
I just think it's crazy if you think about that. I think the biggest fact for me was that 1,825 electric generating plants.
Yeah, do you have any idea? And this is a question you probably don't have any answer
No.
to, how many there are total in the country? That's an interesting question. You know what I mean?
How many total what?
Electrical
generating
like
plants?
either
I
coal or
don't.
gas. You know.
You should have told me that before we taped. Maybe I could have.
I didn't. You kept your gas fact, but to yourself.
You could have told me. I didn't. I don't know. We'll find out for next show. How's that?
Sounds good to me.
Continuation of the gas fact.
Gas fact.
Part 2. What else do we have? Anything?
That's it.
Nothing.
Expo.
Yeah, I was going to say about the expo. We kind of talked about this before, and if anybody's still paying attention, I just want to say the purpose of this is to do something educational and free in a time that everything seems to be kind of costly, and people are trying to save money. But we did set up a GoFundMe page, which is you can find on our upscoexpo.com webpage. And it's just to help the local community that we serve and that we exist in. So if anybody feels particularly charitable, please go on there. Every little bit helps. We really would appreciate it. The only other thing I want to add is thanks to Scott. Two things. We have a lot of guests on that are great, and we love every one of them. But to take time out of his vacation to sit down and not only do just a call with us, but a pre-call, and then he was gracious enough to send us a link to his daughter's website, which is Dog Threads, which is really a unique clothing line that she created and was on Shark Tank. And so Scott's going to be, kind of hooking us up with some merch. So we really do appreciate it. What a great guy. Just really gracious, and we really do appreciate it. So Scott, if you have tuned in for the entirety of this episode, thank you very much. We really do appreciate it.
And we can order my matching shirt with Hopper. We're gonna go hanging out.
It's weird because I got mine in Chad's. I was the same. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I can't wait to see what you guys ordered. I haven't seen yet, so I don't know. It would be interesting to see. We should wear them all on a show one day.
I tried to get the Jimmy Buffett one, but it was out of stock, so I had to go with a different one.
I did too. I did too.
We're just out of stock.
They didn't have a schmedium.
You haven't been a schmedium since you were 12, and even that's borderline. All right, enough of this.
A large.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still a medium, oddly enough. Hoping to grow next year.
Okay, great show, guys. Let's get out of here. Thanks for watching, folks.
Thanks, fellas.
Like, subscribe, share.
All that fun stuff.
So, have a good one.
And comment on our pumpkins.
Pumpkins.